Hey, Ray here from TTP. Yes, I'm sporting a new look today. New hairstyle, little hair in the face, dropped 55 pounds. Tell me what you think. Leave it in the comment section.
But the comment section is turned off.
Obviously. You really think I want their opinion? Okay, kidding. So, StingRay owners, we're going to align some mirrors a little bit differently today. We're going to start this from way, way down deep in the rabbit hole, and we're going to go further and further and further. Some of you are not completely understanding the way the mirror alignment works, and you're not understanding my previous video completely. So we're going to do things a little bit different. What I want you to do, first of all, set your power to 30%. Get yourself some aluminum foil and some masking tape, but we're not going to worry about that now. The first thing we're going to do is I'm going to explain to you. This tube in the back of your machine needs to be specifically the right height and specifically the right distance from the wall of the laser machine. The other thing that's very, very important here, okay, two things. The laser machine needs to be, come over here, Jessica's on the camera, come over here. The tube needs to be 100% parallel with your gantry across the front. So distance from here to the tube versus distance from here to the tube, they need to be exact. Now, this works for TTP lasers because our TTP lasers are actually built proper and square, the bodies are. I struggled with this many years ago with knowing the way this functions, but I had an older, cheaper laser, and I kept measuring it from there to there, and after about a year I realized it didn't work because the body wasn't square. These bodies are square, but you don't need to worry about it. Let's come back here and I'm going to show you what I want you to do. And the reason this is specifically for StingRay, we'll do one for the Sunray and for the Light Ray later, but right now we're spending our Saturday getting this video specifically on a StingRay, and we have the measurements for you. So I want you to cut some blocks. Cut some little blocks, specifically 1 3/16 of an inch or 30 millimeters. What you're going to do is you're going to have two of them, and you're going to put them in here and in here, and they should fit perfectly. If they don't fit perfectly, then let's come over here, get your number 4 Allen wrench, loosen the bottom 4 here and bottom 4 here, and push your mounts so that these fit snug on both sides. That's why we have 2. So if you only had 1, if you snugged it in there, this side would move. So put 2 in there, push it tight so you have the right distance. 1 3/16 of an inch or 30 millimeters. Once you have that set, cut yourself 2 more blocks. 3.5 inches, which is 89 millimeters. Now we're going to loosen the screw, Allen screw here, both front and back, and you're going to put your pieces underneath here and underneath here in the front. Use the dial here to dial it down till both ends of the tube sit properly on the blocks that you've made. Now you have the exact right height and distance for your tube. Okay, now we're going to come over to the side, take your little door panel off of here. Your 3.5 inch block, and this is just completely coincidence and fluke, or we did something right, I don't know. You're going to put it inside here, up to the top of the body, and you're going to loosen your pedestal with these 2 screws, and you're going to raise your mirror so this fits exactly on top. So the top of your mirror, 3.5 inches from the top of your mirror to the top of the body here. Now get yourself masking tape, tin foil, stick a square piece of tin foil on the masking tape, about the size of your mirror. You want to be able to cover your entire mirror. We're going to take this and we're going to put it on the first mirror. Once you have it on the mirror, you're going to make a nice indentation there so you can see exactly where the mirror is. And you're going to have your wife go and pulse the laser machine. So we are dead center. If you're not dead center, then what I suggest is try to adjust your tube slightly if it needs to be, the height or the distance, till you are dead center, but you should be perfect. Alright, so the reason I'm doing the video today is because Jessica won't do the video unless I clean the whole shop before we film her on video. And if I'm going to clean the whole shop, we don't have time to make a video. So I'm doing the video. So we're going to take our masking tape now. We're going to go over to the second mirror, and you can put it directly over. You don't even have to put it over the mirror. You can just put it over the little square bracket there. And you can make the indent on that bracket. And now we're going to go, I'll go and fire the pulse, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't actually fire the pulse, so I want to make a point here. If your beam didn't hit the mirror, which is very possible, you're in a very dangerous situation. We have a wild beam. That means if the beam from the first mirror to the second mirror didn't hit it, where is it? So it could be shooting me, it could be shooting Jessica, it could be shooting my dogs. So make sure that your lid is closed. Make sure that your door is on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a piece of wood. Something like this will work really well. Put it in here, in front of the mirror. Well, of course, you're not going to have it sticking out here because your door is going to be closed, but you can have it like over here. And you're going to go and fire your pulse and see if it's hitting the wood over here or over there or whatever. Another thing that you can do is you can actually just move your second mirror all the way to the back of the machine and fire your pulse. It's more likely it'll hit the mirror from the back of the machine because, of course, the angle is small at the beginning, but when it comes out, your beam is going wider and wider. So that's one way of doing it, or the second way of doing it. Now, if you're using the second method where you're moving your mirror all the way to the back and trying to find the beam, if you manage to hit anywhere in the mirror or the mirror mount, you can see where your mark is. Now, just slowly start moving your mirror forward and continue to pulse every time you move it forward. Move it in 6-inch increments and maybe a foot, whatever. Keep moving it and you'll see your pulse mark will be moving in the direction that your beam is going. So if your first pulse mark is here and all of a sudden you move it forward and the pulse mark is over here, you know to move your beam back that way. One of the ways that you can do it, if your beam is way out, if it's far from hitting the mirror, then you're going to have to do something over here. Let's come on the side here. What you should do is you should mark the height exactly where it is because we don't want to change the height. We want this height to stay exactly what it is. We have that preset. But we're going to have to loosen these two thumb screws and we're going to have to turn the pedestal because you don't have enough room on the adjustment screws to make the alignment screws to make enough alignment if your beam is way out. So we're just going to turn this till we get the beam hitting at the far end in the center of the mirror. Alright, now that you know that your beam is in the relatively the right area, take your tin foil, your tape, and we're going to place it over this little plate that goes on the front of the mirror and make a good indentation in there so you can see exactly where it is. Now we're going to go and pulse the laser machine and we're going to see where it hits. Okay, so you can see that we're up and to the left. It should be in the center here. You're up and too far to the left. Notice that your red dot pointer is somewhere else also. I'm going to show you a little trick to make this easier now. Let's go to the back of the machine. And here you have your red dot pointer. Now, a lot of people are confusing the purpose of this red dot pointer. This red dot pointer has absolutely nothing to do with the beam firing, and it's a completely separate alignment. So when you're aligning your mirrors, you really don't need to worry about where that red dot is pointing at all. First thing I want to point out, because a lot of people brought it up, well, my red dot is pointing over here. It's actually not. This is like a two-way mirror, a reflective mirror. So your beam from your red dot pointer, which is here, your beam is going to go straight through it and hit the wall, and as well it's going to reflect off of that and go to the mirror. Now what I want you to do on your second mirror, once you hit the beam, once you hit the pulse and you know where your pulse mark is, I want you to align your red dot pointer to hit the center of the burn mark. This is important. So which of these screws to use, there's really no way of knowing. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the beam at the same time as we turn the screws. So just turn the screw a little bit this way. Okay, well that worked. Lucky. Go to another screw. We're going to find one that makes it go down. And that one made it go down. Okay. So now we've adjusted the red dot pointer. One more thing I should have mentioned though. Before you start adjusting the red dot pointer, I want you to go to this screw on the top, and that's the one that secures your red dot diode. And I just want you to make sure, double sure that that screw is extremely tight in there, that it's holding the red dot diode in really securely. Then you can start adjusting by any one of these four screws. Now we managed to get it lined up to the center of the pulse mark. We're not moving any mirrors. All we're doing is aligning the red dot pointer from the four screws. We got the red dot on the pulse mark, which makes it very easy now, because instead of aligning your mirrors and keep pulsing and pulsing and pulsing, I'm going to bet that all I need to do now is adjust my mirror. So I need to go right. So to go right, I'm going to take the actually this one is diagonal. We're going to go to the bottom left, and we're going to turn it counterclockwise. You're going to need to loosen your thumb screw on the bottom, your locking nut. You're going to need to loosen that. Now we're going to turn this clockwise, and it's moving the beam to the center, which is good. We're going to finger tighten the lock nut. Now we're going to take the top one, which is your up and down, loosen your locking nut, and we're going to turn it clockwise to go to the center. And we're off by just a little bit. Move the bottom one this way again. There we go. Finger tighten your lock nut. Now, oops. Okay. Now, I'm going to go and pulse it again, and I'm going to bet that the pulse mark will hit exactly where the red dot is pointing. And was I right? Yes, exactly right there, which is also exactly perfectly centered. Now here's an important part. We're going to move, don't take this tape off, leave it on. We're going to move this to the back of the laser machine. And we're going to pulse it again. Okay, our two burn marks hit dead on, dead center, front and back. If they didn't hit dead center, front and back, if the two beam pulse marks didn't overlap each other, you're going to have to go to our first mirror, our first video, and watch how to adjust. What you're going to have to do is adjust the mounts. Don't do that until you know 100% you have to. Chances are you don't have to. Now that you have your first and second mirror lined up, what I want you to do is get a pair of pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers and a pair of pliers, and we're going to hold one steady. We're going to tighten up your locking nuts, but you want to be careful when you tighten the locking nuts that you're not turning the thumb screw. So we're going to hold this with one, and we're going to bring in your needle nose pliers, and we're going to get that nice and snug in there. Now be very careful when you're doing that, and keep an eye on your red dot while you're doing that so that you can see if you're moving the beam or not. So we're going to tighten the ones that we loosened, nice and snug, and there we go. Alright, we're going to do now from the second mirror to the third mirror. You've tightened up your first mirror. You don't need to go back to it. You can ignore it. It's fine. We're going to be working on using the alignment screws from the second mirror, and we're going to hit the bullseye on the third mirror. So put your tape on, make a good indentation so you can see where it is, and fire your pulse. Okay, we're way off to the right. Now notice that from the second to the third that your red dot has actually moved, which means your red dot's not perfectly aligned. It was perfect between the first and the second mirror, but it's not perfect here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to align the red dot with the 4 screws to get that red dot right in the center of the burn mark. Alright, we've got the red dot right in the center of the burn mark. So wherever you move that red dot, the burn mark should follow it at this point. So all we need to do is move the red dot to the center of where we want to be, and the pulse mark should hit that spot. So we're going to go back to the second mirror, and we need to move the beam to the left, so we're going to loosen the bottom left thumb screw. And notice that red dot's moving. Okay. Of course we had to loosen the locking nut. We're going to finger tighten that locking nut, and we need to go down just a little bit. We're going to tighten the top, and first we have to loosen the locking nut, of course. Okay, bring that down, maybe a little bit more to the left, right about there, and we're going to go pulse again. And of course the beam followed, but it looks like it's still a little bit off. So we're going to go a little bit, a little bit more to the left, and down a little bit. Finger tighten your locking screws. I'm going to put a fresh tape over that. When you're changing your tape, you don't have to change the tin foil. You can just leave that one on and just put another straight tape with no tin foil over top of it. And you can usually do that 4 or 5 times. Let's try the pulse again. And I'm very happy with that. Now we're going to move the third mirror to the left side of the bed. Leave this on. We're going to pulse again. And our beams are very, very close. They're overlapping. That's definitely good enough. Okay, talking about my sporting look, I should probably mention one big improvement to my looks. The cast is gone. So, how many said, no, I have to have surgery? Look at this. I did not have surgery and I'm walking just fine. We healed my bones the TTP way with the laser machine. Alright, no kidding. Let's put a new tape on that third mirror. And now we're going to check all 4 corners. So, the best place to start is top left corner. Pulse it. Bring it to the right corner. Pulse it. Bring down, pulse it, and to the left, pulse it. And there you have, well, 99% perfect mirror alignment. If you get yours this close, you've done extremely well. Be proud of yourself.